All right. Thanks, guys, for joining me here today. So for those that are listening in, if you guys could briefly describe your names, where you guys are from, and a little bit about yourselves.
I'm Lucas Criswell is my wife, Mindy. We are from Lewisburg, Pennsylvania, pretty well central of Pennsylvania. We have a 1,500 acre cash grain farm, hog farm, custom fertilizer spreading and manure operation with the GPS business in my spare time. And we are homeschooling right now, so it's pretty much a full-time job at home also.
100%. So guys, I want to hear from both of you on this. Start with you, Lucas. What was really not working both in life or business before you guys came into Legacy Farmer?
I think things were working, but my goal is to be better organized before the end of the year and know what's going on and not work for 11 months and try and figure things out on the 12th hour before the end of the year. That is my ultimate goal, and to give me direction on if we're taking my operation the right business. And if something's not working, to get rid of it, to switch it up and make it more profitable. We only got so many years to do this. Talking with somebody the other day, is like, we only have so many years to do this. I am young. I'm only 45, but we got a lot going, and I want each year to count. And we got 3 boys, and wanting to make sure things can all be set up for them, profitable down the road if they want to come back.
Yeah. And how about you, Mindy? What do you feel like wasn't working for on your end of things? What do you feel like was some of the problems or struggles that you were starting to see in the operation? Yeah, there we go. I didn't want to say it too bluntly.
Talk about anything more. No, for me, Luke is a numbers guy. And that's one of the things that I learned very quickly in our marriage. When he would go to buy a piece of equipment, like if it was a truck, he would sit down and figure out how many loads of lime or fertilizer or something he would have to haul in order to pay for that. I didn't grow up like that. My parents owned a dairy farm. It was a family, there were multi-families involved in that. And my grandparents were the one that did all the record keeping. So I never got to see that end of the business, the farming aspect of it. So coming into this, when he was explaining to me what this was going to involve, what we were going to have to do, again, I think what we were doing was working for us, but it wasn't enough. We needed to do something else. And with this, like when he did the projections for next year, he's like, look at this. He said, and we broke it down by month. Whereas when I sit down to pay the bills, different times throughout the month, okay, I have no idea what's coming in, what's going out. And with this, we get to see projections like, oh, this is why this, we know that in the back of our heads, but to be able to see that and have that written down made all the difference. We can talk about it a little bit easier now. It's right in front of us, where before it was all in his head. So when he says it was him, it really was him, because what he was thinking and what was actually being told or said to me wasn't being communicated.
Well, and what kind of security did it give you for you to see how the operations books are going to be, or how profitable it could be next year? And just to know for a fact what Lucas is doing is working. Like, how much security did that give for you guys in the relationship? Just in the relationship.
She's been very trustworthy. We've been married for quite a while, and she kind of got thrown. She didn't get thrown into it. I still did all the bookkeeping and stuff, but when she stayed home here with our middle son, I kind of I need you to start paying some bills. And we worked with QuickBooks and stuff, and she's very organized with that and keeping things in line there. And she always had confidence in what I did, but I didn't know how to explain it to her. Again, it's all up here, and the metrics really helps lay it all out a little bit more. And I guess that's what's interesting.
So, and
the bank should be doing this for us, and they're not. They're just like, yeah, that looks okay.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I want to hone with you guys next is farmer metrics. So guys, when we came in, we take the balance sheets, we dive in and give you guys this financial overview and give you this software to one, track your numbers, but two, put projections in, but actually then start teaching you guys on what your numbers mean, how your business is operating, and actually for the first time put you guys in the driver's seats and not the bank. Like we're putting you guys in the control of it, so you're running those conversations with the banks, even like with your co-op dealers, like, hey, this is where my numbers are at if I want to negotiate on some of these, one, interest rates, two, input costs. Like, I know what's going on in the back end. I know that I can negotiate some of these things, one, because of my ability to track my position and to kind of take a stance for that. Actually, like, know my numbers, and if I want to negotiate and take control of it, I have the ability to do that. So kind of share with me, guys, if you could, what it's been like coming in and having a system to track numbers, and what it's really done for you guys for, let's say, a long-term vision. Because we know this isn't just a 1 year thing. Going in and looking at a cash flow once a year, kind of share with me how this has changed your guys' long-term vision on your operation.
I guess I'm the long-term vision guy. Mindy's more just like what needs to be done today, and because I'm the one that has the vision of what I would like this to look like, and you never really know what it'll look like, but we're looking at buying her uncle's dairy farm, the family farm. And I guess that's what really pushed me into legacy farmer also, is I had some huge decisions we were making here in the next month. And I really want to know, where am I at? And it gave me a lot more confidence in that I'm not as insane as I think I am, to take on the debt that it's going to be. But it really exposed where my weaknesses were, with the line of credit. We're working on a small line of credit. Felt we've done okay, but I've never known what to ask for. And the projections help me now in January get me in a better position for a year from now, so that we can take better advantages of discounts, take better advantages of getting bills paid on time, and not fretting about needing to haul 20 load of corn a month and hoping that we can get it delivered. It's just really, so far with just 2 months of being in this, it's kind of taken that stress off. We've already talked with the bank, showing him our 2022 projections, like, hey, this is how much line of credit I need. He goes, oh, yes, you do. And we have a good payment history. And he goes, it wasn't even a hesitance. Like, yeah, no problem. I think we can do that. And showing him the difference in him wanting to maybe take our collateral for line of credit out of my land. And he goes, we probably don't really want to do that. And I said, well, look at my list of assets of equipment we got. And he said, yep. He said, I don't see why we can't just focus on that rather than tying your land up. And it was, like I said, I got different spreadsheets in Excel, and they were kind of ugly, and they were in Lucas terms, not.
No one else was going to be able to decipher them. The bank was not going to look at them and be able to say, yeah, you need more money. You need a bigger line of credit. Yeah. It wasn't going to happen.
Well, it almost is like it's almost too complex for you to even comprehend. And then you don't understand it. You try to explain it to the bank, and if you don't understand it, the bank sure isn't going to understand
Usually
it.
I was doing it at midnight at night, trying to stay awake. Why did I put that down there for?
Why is that number there?
Yeah.
It was so it's been a breath of fresh air for long-term planning, and seeing how complex my operation is right now, and you guys are recommending we break it down a little bit more. So I'm looking at how we can, looking forward to breaking it down to better track. I like to know if it's paying or not, and to fine tune that, and break that big gross number down and break it out to smaller things.
Well, do you feel like too, now tracking numbers, tracking bookkeeping, do you feel like it's more simplified and in a way that you understand it? Like, it's simple.
Oh, hands down. Let's talk with my one financial. Every bank that I've showed farm metrics to, they loved it. The bank has their own crude financial statement, and they don't even know how to read it. The more the more information we can give the bank, the better. The more detailed of each line item, the better. And
because they don't know our operation like we do, or
Correct.
like he does, so they're just filling in blanks where they think it should go or what they think should do. Whereas with this, it's all right there in front of them. There is no guesswork. It's taken the guesswork out of that.
the bank's taking a risk on us. The more information we can give them will mitigate that risk.
One and part two is you guys have gone through and you've entered the numbers in for you. The bank hands you the numbers. Well, where did this really come from? And there's a process that you haven't gone through in order to truly understand those numbers. And as we're having you guys update them throughout the year, a couple times a month, 3-4 times a month, you guys can see the shifts that starts to happen inside the operation. And it's just being on top of things at all times. So when that opportunity does come up, let's say that tractor that you've been looking at or a piece of ground comes up, I know if I can plug this into my cash flow, make sure I can cash flow it. But two, how is it going to change my overall position? Maybe I wait a couple years to put more cash in the account. Maybe I, hold off for right now, and just to have that confidence in making that decision, one that's not based off of emotion. Like how many percentage of farmers are just making it solely off of emotion just because they have cash right now? How about next year? Like, how is this going to affect me next year, 2 years from now?
I'm already pulling back on some things I was interested in doing and looking at the inflation we have on everything and the unknown. And there was some smaller equipment purchases that I'm going to pull back on. We're going to kind of sit tight with what we got, and we'll make do with maybe some different repairs versus purchasing. And I'm looking forward. I mean, I had this conversation with a broker of mine, and he got me hooked up that I can go in and see what tickets have been posted, what's getting paid. If I have a place that I can go to, that I can punch my numbers in, that I can personally see, that I'm responsible for, and it's going to give me a credit card, a report card when we're all done each night I sit down or time we reconcile the cash flow. It'll tell us where we're at, what we need to change, or if we need to change, or where we're doing good, and just the monthly confidence. I guess I'm looking forward to that.
I think one of the biggest things that's shifted for a lot of members is they've operated in scarcity for years. I mean, they've struggled to get to where they're at. Now, the truth is that a lot of members actually aren't in as bad of a position as they truly think. Which is crazy to me, right? Because when you hear, inflation, all of these negative things that are going on, well, how is it actually true to your operation? And after going through the cash flow and actually looking at, hey, maybe we're going to be okay. We can weather this. Like there's a sense of self-confidence that comes with your own operation. Forget everybody else. It doesn't matter what everybody else is at. How am I operating? How is my cash flow?
Change the negative attitude, the negative everything going on, and just turn to something positive and say, okay, this is the hand we're dealt. Where's it going to fit in at? And where do we need to be profitable? And it's what we have. We can't sit here and complain and go to the coffee shop and complain to all the neighbors. That don't do nothing.
Right. It doesn't do anything.
It's just knowing where you're at and knowing what you need to do and what sales you need to make and what not to spend money on, and think, hey, we need to get rid of this piece of equipment. It's been sitting there for 5 years and we haven't used it. Let's turn into some cash. Equipment prices are hot right now. Turn into something.
Because if you're not confident, or if you're still stuck in scarcity, even though you could be profitable, are you going to take action though with that negative mindset around your finances? Probably not.
No,
right.
It'll be the wrong way. It'll be emotion. It'll be emotional. It'll be an emotional move.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about your guys' favorite thing about Legacy Farmers. So we've got the boardroom calls, we got the chats, we've got the training videos, training program, farmer metrics. Share with me what your guys' favorite thing so far has been in Legacy Farmer.
Well, my first boardroom call I was on, and I discussed with you and Jace about buying wife's family farm, and Jay's like, hey, you want to throw this up in the boardroom call? I'm like, I guess. And it's like, wow, you guys are serious. It's like, you want to talk about personal matters. And that was cool to be able to share those things and hear other people's stories and hear what they're going through in situations, because there's somebody else who's going through something else just like you. And they might, after that call, I had one of the members reached out to me about some owner financing that we're going to be doing. And he asked me some questions about it. Never really heard about it before, and told him a couple of things. He's like, well, it's not that hard. I was like, no. And just hearing, and that's how I've learned what I've learned from other farmers doing other deals. There's a local farmer that something big land wise comes up, and I was like, what do you think we should do here? And he's like, gave me some ideas, and it's what we run with. The bank doesn't give you those ideas. The bank's not going to say, hey, you should talk to the owner and see if they want to do 50% owner financing, because the bank's going to lose money. Mm-hmm. So the bank's not going to talk you into that. But doing this is going to give me the flexibility to take this loan to any bank with her uncle taking second mortgage, and it's going to expose my bank to a little more competition, and to say, hey, if you want this, you're going to have to do, we're looking for the best deal. And
how like safe did you feel sharing that in front of, okay, so think of this, you come into a Zoom meeting, 40, 50 other people for the first time, right?
It was intimidating. It was a little intimidating, but I've broken out of my shell a little bit. My wife can contest to that. I've done some public speaking in that now, and I was game. I was like,
bring it on.
Whatever, let's throw it out there and see what sticks. I loved it. It was.
Can you say after that first call, though, that there was a trust that was established in the group?
Absolutely. 100%.
That these people here truly have my back. They are here for the right intentions, that they actually want me to succeed. Would you agree?
Yep.
Yeah. Where else do you think, where else do you find that in the egg industry today?
Nowhere. You guys pulled up my cash flow here 2 boardroom calls ago too, and we looked over talking about the line of credit, and I had no problem at all. And I'll be glad to look at somebody else's and help them along the way. And I'm no expert by any means, but it's just, we've all been through something, and can share what financing we've done in the past and what we're going for. And I keep thinking, we only have so many years to do this, to have a crop, grow our family, and we want to make each year count and to be successful, not take 5 steps backwards because of one mistake that could have easily been avoided.
Well, and somebody else can share with you that mistake that they've made and say, hey, if you do go forward with that, there's a pretty good chance you might go back 5, 6 steps.
Yes.
How valuable is it to hear from somebody else who's already done that, to say, man, don't do that right now. Like this.
Well, and we always say, well, you have to fail to learn. Well, you don't want to fail too much in financing,
especially with farming. There's no small
mistakes, because it takes, your day-to-day daily chores, the kids raising up, but we don't want them to make that mistake. Well, there's truth to that, but the big things and that's why I sought out you guys for consulting, is I don't mind paying for Legacy Farmer to get information back that's going to save me. I might not make money, but to save me from that costly mistake.
100%. Because that one piece of ground that you buy could be the one thing that puts you out of business, right? Yep. Equipment, mostly just the bigger long-term pictures to see it when that opportunity does come. Because most people come in, us farmers, we're progressive. We want to grow. We want to expand, want to grow things. When that one piece of ground does come up and we do make that emotional based decision because we don't know our numbers, we're just assuming that we can make it or swing it, hope that we're going to get into some good prices, have some good weather. A lot of the times it's that one bad decision where you'll suffer for the next 10 to 15 years, or unfortunately for some, will never get out of that pocket or that hole that they dig themselves into. That's what we're trying to avoid, is those consequences 5-10 years from now from trying to dig out, and why is it worth it? Like why go through 10, 15 years of suffering and pain just to get that one piece of ground that we've been waiting on, right? And just trying to make it through this period, and hopefully one day get paid off. Like it's not worth it, my friend. At the end of the day, like it's not worth it. So
Yep.
Last question. So somebody that has been listening to Legacy Farmer, okay, we've get some members that have been in, and they've spent months or years literally sitting on the fence, not making, and just haven't pulled the trigger yet. So for somebody who is listening in and they are sitting on the fence, they know that they've got to make some changes in their operation. They know that they need some assistance. They want the and have the desire to change. What is something you would share to somebody who would be sitting on that fence right now?
If you keep doing the same thing over and over again, you get the same results, I guess. It's something kind of keeps sticking in my mind. And if you're looking for a change, you got to take a risk in yourself, I guess, is something. And that's what I've seen as a big step, to take a risk in myself to bring you guys on and to get involved, and to not be afraid to share your situation with somebody else. There is somebody else going through what you're going through. And like you say, some of your members are probably better off than they thought. I think it's kind of what I found out for myself. I'm a little bit better off than I thought I was, but I don't want to get too confident. I always like to be reserved. And no matter where you're at financially, I know there's members who are really struggling, and I really feel for them. My parents went through a lot of hard times. That's when my dad kept pounding at me. He was my biggest skeptic of growing, and because they went through the early 80s. And of course, the concern of that we're looking at right now, this huge inflation of what it looks like. And I feel so much, it gives you so much better confidence having your guys' metrics and having a handle on your stuff to make quicker decisions. And just the trust that I have with you guys already in just 2 months, and seeing the other sizable operations. I don't know what the old saying is, surround yourself with positive people. And you surround yourself with other farmers that are going through the exact same thing. It's very refreshing. Just getting on the boardroom calls. You're not feeling the best that day or whatever, and just to hear what other people are going through, you're like, we're all in this together.
There's a saying that I really like, and it is, if you surround yourself in darkness, you're going to be in darkness. You surround yourself with light, you're going to be in light. But just because you are in darkness and you surround yourself with light doesn't mean you're going to remain in darkness.
Yeah.
So those that are struggling and that come in, that make the choice, think of a person that makes the choice to walk into the light, right? Yeah, those who are struggling, if you are still surrounded by that energy of people who are trying to do better, you are inevitably like going to become part of that energy.
Yeah, it's still contagious. It's contagious on the community chat and that. It's just, you got an idea, you throw it out there. It's nice to have that. It's hard to explain the value of even just that small chat to somebody. And just it's everybody's connected. It's like, hey, I have this idea. And there'll be 2 or 3 people like, oh yeah, yep, I've done that, or no, I haven't, or hey, watch out for this. That's hard to put a price tag. I don't think you guys push that hard enough that it's, and I value that community group locally and on here now also. My wife's like, who are you talking to now? I was like, well, I got this idea. And it's like, I gotta put it out there. And yeah. I'm not afraid somebody to poo-poo on my idea. It's like, that's fine. That's why I'm putting it out there.
Everybody who's in here, and we're very selective on who comes in here for that same reason. Everybody in here is progressive and wants good things to happen. That negative energy, that one person who is a bad apple in the group, it's not where you belong here. Like, we're trying to solve our problems and be stewards of what we're trying to do with good character, with good values here. That's just that is, I think what's different there is that's like the center of what we want. And for you guys like coming in, those kind of people who want that, right? That's it's more about the kind of the people that want to make a change. The processes are different. Everybody's going to walk a different path. But if you truly in your heart, like want to make a change and surround yourself with those kind of people, good things do happen.
Don't join if you think that Jace and Andy are going to do it all for you. They provide you the tools. You still got it. And that's friend of mine. I'm encouraging him to maybe talk with you. And he's like, well, how much time do you have to spend with it? Like, well, initially you gotta, depends how good you are.
Yeah.
I'd say a good strong month of on and off, getting your numbers plugged in.
Yep.
Then once the base is set, I said probably just a couple times a month going in and working with it. So Andy and Jason are going to do it for you, and Joni's not going to do it for you, but you're going to provide the tools, the encouragement to get it done.
100%. I think that sums it up pretty good there. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Awesome, guys. Well, thank you for joining me here today, guys. I really do appreciate it.